So how y'all doing? It's been a minute. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I am back, sort of. As y'all can see, is a couple things different. We got a different angle going on, a different hairstyle, everything. Feeling different as well, even though y'all can't see that. But I came here bringing y'all a little simple video, but it's an algorithm I kind of thought of that can be applied to every rule, every little endeavor in life, and it works 100% of the time, which is what's amazing about it. But this algorithm is very simple. L plus L equals W, right? So now let that simmer in your brain for a little bit. Think about it. What could that mean? So L number one stands for loss. When you take an L, when you take a loss, you clearly didn't do what was sufficient to take the win, right? You messed up in something, you made some sort of mistake, and you simply didn't win, right? Self-explanatory. Both of these things are self-explanatory, but when you actually realize that you're doing them other than your body doing it on its own, it's better because you can apply it on more subjects in life, right? So that leads us to L number 2, which is lesson. When you take a L, you always learn from it. You learn from your mistakes from before and you learn not to make that mistake again, right? Leading to the W, the win. It's a very simple equation, but when you actually realize that you're doing it, you make it so that in every loss you take, you will always technically win because you're learning from that loss, leading to the win, right? So I have a perfect example of this going on, which was when I had first applied for my driver's license. The very beginning, you start off the process, you go for the permit, get that pretty easily, and then you start taking classes to actually prepare yourself towards the test. I took two classes before the test. I felt like I was ready. Before that, I hadn't taken a classes till like maybe a year before, and it was only two classes. And I was a very like I was a novice, like I was a beginner. I didn't know anything about driving back then. When I took the two classes before the test, I gained my confidence, and I was like, yeah, I could do this, right? And so I did, kind of. So first test comes through, they start you off. You gotta put your seatbelt on, fix your mirrors, make sure everything is simple, everything is good. And before driving off, you gotta make sure you turn on your signal lights, your indicators, so that the person around you, if there's any car that's passing by, knows that you're about to exit your parking. Right? Simple. I did that. I exit the parking. I start driving off. Everything cool. I'm noticing that the driving instructor is chilling. Nothing's wrong. So I started off well, right? We start approaching a part where I have to go up a steep hill, and so me keeping in mind that you have to keep your miles per hour, you have to keep them below 30, throughout the test because that's what they want to see. You're doing basically what they want. Because most of us, after taking the test and after receiving our licenses, we don't drive like that ever again. We drive, you got the one hand up, you feel me? You bobbing your head to the music and everything. You're vibing. Like, you don't drive how they want you to drive. But for the test, you need to drive like that, right? So that's exactly what I did. We're going up that steep hill and she's noticing that my speed is still low, and so she starts telling me to speed up. I'm thinking it's a trick because it's like you're telling me like I'm supposed to keep my speed below 30, but you're telling me to speed up right now. So I'm speeding up slowly, but she's rushing me to speed up. So it's like for me, I'm just boom, what I'm saying? I hit the pedal and I'm just like, what I'm saying? And I hit like a calm, like I don't know, like I think 35. I didn't even go above that much, but I did exactly what they asked me to do. Boom, right? Shortly afterwards, we got to like a commercial street, and there was a lot of cars. One of them was parked. It was a yellow school bus, and it was double parked, right? So I had to go around it essentially. And so what I did was instead of going around it right away, I took my time, got a little closer, then turned my indicator and moved. Well, that was the plan at least. But the driving instructor was telling me to prematurely make that move So they were trying me to swerve left. They were trying to make me swerve left way before I even approached the car, which to me it just felt like, that's kind of like there's no point in doing that. I might as well just get a little closer and then just swerve around. But they wanted me to do it that way, and so because I took so long to do so, the driving instructor ended up taking the wheel and swerving for me. And you know that when the driving instructor touches anything in the car while you're in it, you know for sure you failed, because they're not supposed to touch the car at all. It's you driving, it's you learning. They're not supposed to touch the car. So after that, I was like, yep, there goes like 10, 15 points. Calm. Um, right after that, the driving instructor tells me to go back and park. Like I'm not saying like park for the test. Like they telling me go back and just park the car and that's it, leave. So I'm like, yep, I failed. I failed miserably, right? So I had to wait till like 6 p.m. that day to receive my credentials and everything, just receive like all the points taken off, like everything. And so I waited till 6, and when I got to see the points I had, I failed. I failed very badly. Like I'm talking like I wasn't even close to passing. And so with that loss, right? Because this is where the loss comes in. I at the beginning I didn't want to accept that I did anything wrong, because usually we kind of just start blaming everything around us instead of just blaming ourselves and looking for what we did wrong. And essentially, eventually I came to peace with what I did, and I realized, yeah, I did this and that. So I know that next time I can't make that same mistake. So I spoke to my teacher and I told him, I was like, yo, if you can get me a class before like this month ends, that would be great. I would love that. Cause usually when you fail a test, they make you wait like a month or so, or like 2 months at best, just because the DMV is always packed. Like they always got a bunch of exams every day. So long story short, he ended up finding that test for me, and I got one that same exact month towards the end. It was September. This was last year. Point is, after taking that loss, I knew exactly what it is that I did wrong, and I knew what not to do again. Right. So when I took the test again the second time, a couple weeks after, I passed it. Simple, right? I passed it with a 70, which is still whack as hell, but you know, it's still a passing grade. I'm still driving. I got the license. Everything's amazing, right? Can't complain. But it's the fact that I passed in general just by looking back at my mistakes and not making them again. Simply, right? So, moral of the story is using this simple equation, L plus L equals W, you just can't lose. Because even when you do lose, you take it as a win. Because it always leads to you winning. You can't just continue to lose over and over again, because then that's your fault. That's completely your fault, because you're just not learning from your lessons. You're trying to do the same exact thing you did before, and you're trying to do it slightly better, thinking that it's going to work for you, while in reality, it's not, right? So you must do exactly what it is that you said you would do, right? Don't make the mistake again and focus on the win. Right after you pass that test, or you pass whatever life trial it is that God throws at you, perfect. Look back at the mistake and say, I didn't make this mistake, now I won. Simple as that. And that's how I want you guys to continue to see certain things. Take the loss. If you took it, don't feel bad. Don't blame anyone. Don't blame anything. Blame yourself. You were the one that lost. It was your loss to take, right? After taking that loss, learn from that mistake, continue to push forward and make that W, right? An L and another L, slightly slanted, make a W. See how simple it is to remember this equation? That's how I can tell you it works 100% of the time, because it's so easy to remember. L plus L equals W. This was a very short video I just wanted to make for you guys, just so you guys can like get an understanding of what this equation really is. Because I know a lot of people do this without already noticing, like they don't notice they do this, because it's like It's kind of like a self mechanism that your body does on its own, you know. But when you realize you're doing it, it works better because you actually analyze your mistakes and you make sure you don't make them again, right? So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Drop a like, subscribe, click a bunch of buttons. It don't matter what they are. Just don't make sure you unsubscribe. Don't do that. And you already know, stay up, keep your eyes open, stay blessed, and safety.